The Utah Jazz are a team that completely blew things up and completely turned their direction last offseason, but now they are doing things that nobody would have ever expected, and there's been a big enough sample size for me to say that they're legit. The Jazz found some key players last offseason through their big trades in Collin Sexton and Lauri Markkanen who can be their future stars, and they have solidified veterans like Clarkson and Kelly Olynyk who have really provided so much for this team early on. The Jazz have found some consistency in what they're doing so far, and I really do think they have what it takes to carry it on throughout the season, and they just got another big win against the Grizzlies. In this video, I'm going to be talking all about the Utah Jazz and why I think their future is so bright, and honestly why their present is as well. It will be interesting to see if the Jazz are actually the real deal, but they have been looking like it so far. Anyways, now since the NBA season is finally starting to roll around, I'm going to be pumping out so much content, so I would really appreciate all of your support. It only takes 5 seconds to like and subscribe, plus you can always change your mind. I'm now on the road to 7K subscribers, and I know you all can help me get there very fast. And by the way, thank you all for helping me get past 6K. It truly means the world, and we are just growing super fast right now. So the Utah Jazz have started out the NBA season in unexpected fashion, and their new players continue to step up, and like I already said, this team is looking legit. I originally was questioning if the Jazz were doing the right thing by winning, but as of right now, they look good, and they are showing no signs of slowing down anytime soon. The whole team is buying into the system, and they are looking like they could be the Cinderella story of the season. Now, eventually, they will come back down to earth, it's inevitable, and when I say that, I don't mean they will fall off, I just mean they will be around a 500 team because they are playing out of their minds right now. I could see them being an above 500 team, but they're young, and eventually they will hit a wall. It happens to every young team, and it's completely normal. I'm a Cleveland Cavaliers fan, and it definitely happened to us last year. We were the Cinderella story of the NBA, but then a few injuries happened, and we lost a lot of games in a short period of time, and it took us from the 3 seed all the way to the 8 seed, and the cool thing is, the Jazz are made out of a lot of Cleveland players. I've really been pleased with Utah's new head coach and how the team is coming together and playing very hard. They read passing lanes perfectly, they get out in transition, and they all love to get each other involved, and that's why I was not shocked at all to see this team ranked in the top 10 of the power rankings once again. It's just crazy that this is all happening. Guys like Collin Sexton, Malik Beasley, and THT have really helped this team out off the bench, averaging double figures per night. I've really been enjoying this NBA season so far as much as I can, with all the unpredictable things happening and crazy storylines. So far, we have seen teams like the Spurs, the Trailblazers, the Wizards, and then of course the Jazz getting off to hot starts, and then teams like the Nets and the Warriors have really been struggling. And then of course we have the Lakers, but hey, they actually finally got a win. Anyways, moving on, I talked about him in my last video, but I have to do it again because Lauri Markkanen is doing things on the Jazz that I never thought would be possible. He's been taking over on offense so far into the season, scoring about 25 per night, and he hasn't even gotten things going from behind the arc yet. Lauri's whole game is based on outside shooting, and so far this season he has been dominating in the paint and mid-range. It is so strange to see, but the reason I'm saying this is because once he gets his 3-point shot going, he legit could be an all-star candidate. He has really shocked the NBA world with how well he's been playing, but that's what happens when you finally give someone like him the green light. The Jazz have now left the management with no choice but to keep winning. With a generational prospect looming in next year's draft, most below-average teams built their rosters to tank, but the Jazz players have decided they're not going to go in that direction, and they have been playing so hard and together that I think the sky's the limit for this group. They definitely are going to be in a weird situation come the trade deadline, assuming that they are winning, because they're not championship contenders. I know Jazz fans might get mad at me for saying that, but realistically, they don't have the star power to actually get far in the playoffs, so I'll be interested to see if anyone gets traded. Obviously, it's looking like Lauri Markkanen is leaving the Jazz with no choice but to leave him in as part of the future core, but I really think guys like Collin Sexton, Clarkson, and Ochai Agbaji are going to be around for a while as well. I always say this, and I said it in my last video, But in the NBA, you either want to be really good or really bad. Being right in the middle really gets you nowhere, because then you will have a mid-round draft pick and you won't be able to improve, and you will be stuck in that same cycle. Also, I'm going to repeat this as well in saying that Danny Ainge definitely did a great job of blowing up last year's team and getting a ton in return. And the great thing is, they're still putting on a show right now with their current roster. I did not think in any world that Rudy Gobert was worth what Danny Ainge got for him, but somehow he pulled it off and got a ton of draft picks and prospects. Then with Donovan Mitchell, Ainge also brought in basically 5 more first round draft picks, along with 8th pick Collin Sexton, and then Lauri Markkanen, who has been the star of the show so far this season. I really thought coming into this season that we were going to see some heavy tanking, but it doesn't seem to be turning out that way at all. I think the 14% chance at the first pick was a really good idea by the NBA, and it encourages young teams to develop and win. Plus, nothing is ever guaranteed for prospects, and even generational players can be done in just one moment with one bad injury, or they could also just be a bust. So as for the reason I made this video, I really do think the Jazz are eventually gonna come back down to earth, and they will have some decisions to make. I already said who I want to stay for the long haul, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. In my last video, I said I thought Jordan Clarkson was going to be the first one out the door come the trade deadline, but I'm changing my pick to Mike Conley. Yeah, I know he's a decent veteran, but he just doesn't fit into the timeline of what the Jazz are trying to build, plus he takes up a lot of cap space. Maybe they can find a way to trade him for some rim protection. The young core of the Jazz is looking very promising, and I need to give a shout out to the whole Utah coaching staff, because it is very hard to get a young team to buy in, and I think it's an understatement to say that they have done that so far. I never thought Collin Sexton would ever accept coming off the bench, but he's willingly done that, and he has brought great energy when he's been on the floor. This team is just so exciting, and coming off another huge statement win, I think the NBA is finally starting to take notice that this team could be the real deal. They are just so deep and have so much scoring that anyone could go off on any given night. That's all I have to say in this video. There has just been so much craziness going on in the NBA so far this season, and I love it. I covered a lot, and obviously there is so much more to talk about. I cannot wait for this season to get going. I'm going to continue to pump out as much content as possible, so I would really appreciate it if you would join me for the ride. I'm on the road to 7K subscribers, and I believe y'all can help me get there. And also, one more thing, make sure to comment below what you want to see next. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and until next time, I'll see you all later.